Tehseen, welcome.
Thank
Thanks
you.
for coming.
Thank you so much. Thank you for having me here.
So, first of all, to give everyone a brief background about what we are going to discuss today, we met for the first time. I think किसी के घर पे मिले थे हम लोग. कहाँ मिले थे?
पायल के घर पे.
पायल के घर पे मिले
It was
थे.
a Sunday afternoon.
Yes, वहाँ पे मिले थे over lunch, and we had discussed. And it's funny. So I want to state this on record. I reached out to Tehseen to discuss the future of the Congress.
Correct.
I was coming out as a concerned Indian.
Correct.
So before somebody said नहीं तहसीन ने कुछ बोला नहीं, तहसीन ने कुछ नहीं बोला भाइयों. मैंने बोला तहसीन को, and I because I might be a BJP voter, I might have my ideological affinities, but I care for my country more than anything. Because in India needs an opposition. So that's where we started off, and now let's begin here. You are a person who is, how do I say this without sounding like a jackass? Jackass not to you, but to myself and my audience. You are like me, let's say, an open Congress voter and supporter.
Yeah.
But not part of the Congress.
No.
Similarly, I am a very open supporter of the BJP and a voter of the BJP, but not part of the BJP in any way possible.
True.
Now, there are many of me you can find on the internet.
Correct.
Why do I see only one Tehseen Poonawalla?
I think because the left has gone so far left that anyone in the center appears right. So, the fear of looking right, being right-wing, alienates what is supposed to be the left liberal voters, which is a paradox or an irony because they're not liberal.
Yaar, magar, tell me, how is the BJP right-wing?
The BJP isn't. That's the biggest.
So why is there fear of looking left?
The BJP is more socialist than the Congress Manmohan Singh government was socialist.
So that's what I'm saying. See, this country's bane has been that there is no right-wing party in this country.
There is no right-wing party economically.
Yeah.
Now we want an economic right-wing party.
See, both of you are and I are socially left-wing.
Yeah.
Liberal. Very liberal.
Very liberal.
I would not say left-wing. Liberal.
We are very liberal.
Liberal, but fiscally conservative.
And we want a party that is economically right of the center. You can't be completely right.
Yeah.
Not in a country like India. No. Welfare is must.
Yeah.
It is our duty to take care of the poor. But we want somebody who allows us to do our business. But if you thought the Congress was bad, the BJP is worst.
No, but what do we do in this country then? See, my biggest tragedy, and I've seen since 2014, I have seen a trajectory of the Congress. The Congress has gone in a certain direction.
Yeah.
These are my views. You can disagree with me and you can give me a counter for that. I call this the NGOification of the Congress.
True.
The Congress is becoming more an NGO, less of a political party. And that worries me because NGOs don't understand governance.
That's true. Just look at Bangladesh. NGOs running Bangladesh and see what they've done. So, yeah, the Congress is becoming more and more like an NGO. To borrow a phrase from the Canadian opposition leader, Porsche poverty or Mercedes Marxism is something that's prevalent in our country. And Porsche poverty and Mercedes Marxism, what he said for Jagmeet, Maserati Marxism, does not help you in any sense and does not help your country. It does not touch base with the people of the country. The people of India, the youngsters of India are aspirational, period. And I think the Congress with its NGOification has completely lost that. I was saying this a couple of days ago, it's gone too woke. It's become too woke, or at least the perception is it's too woke. And wokeism, in my opinion, is a disease. It's a terrible disease you need to get rid of.
But then, do you know specific points in the history of the last 20 years of the Congress party where these things started to happen, where the Congress started to get this? Did this start in Dr. Manmohan Singh's tenure itself? Did you see the signs of Congress trying to flirt a little too much? Like I'll give you an example in my eyes. Now you are free to disagree with me. I believe the start of the National Advisory Council, what was that? Led by
NAC.
Led by the then
Mrs.
Congress
Gandhi.
president, Mrs. Gandhi had led that. I think that was the first footstep of the NGOification of a Congress, because look at the people who were part of the NAC, the kind of bills that were promoted by the NAC. I will never get over the communal violence bill. I think that was the most draconian piece of legislation read by me in my life in a long time. And there are many draconian laws in India. but to literally earmark an entire community and say in any conflict tum by default wrong ho is ridiculous. But that itself is a sign, right? So where do you think it started?
So just to correct you, the communal violence bill never came.
I know.
There was a draft.
Yeah.
But a draft never put it on any community. That is, the BJP cleverly marketed it. And so bad was the Congress communication that till today, the core Congress person does not know that it never earmarked Hindus as guilty. Because that's the allegation against the Congress. What that bill actually said was, in any conflict where a mob hits another person, a gentleman, on issues of religion, on issues of linguistic, a minority in religious, linguistic or sexual, then you must prevent that. That was what the draft said. Now, that could be linguistic. So you could be a Hindu living in Delhi from Karnataka and you don't know Kannada. You don't know Hindi. You could be a Kannada. So that's a linguistic minority, or a Hindi-speaking person who does not know Kannada in Karnataka, and you get bashed up. So you're a Hindi-speaking Hindu minority. It actually said something to protect so that people don't form mobs and beat people on these issues. So the legislation per se, as I read the draft, had good intentions. But yeah, it was drafted badly. I give you that. And second, you couldn't communicate the ideas to protect even the Hindus, not make Hindus guilty. That is how bad the Congress's communication is. And to answer your question specifically, the Congress's communication department is just gone downhill. After Janardhan Dwivedi went, who was a good communicator, all of those who've read the Congress department, the media department is clueless. The BJP sets the agenda. Let's just come to present day. There are so many issues that have got our country, that our country should be asking questions of the government, including this NGO running Bangladesh, Syria, etc., Manipur, whatever. When has the opposition seriously raised these issues? The opposition fights on the BJP's pitch. Now, guess what happens if you fight on the BJP's pitch?
The BJP will always win.
Yeah.
No, but again, the focus, in my view, but see, it's not the BJP's job to spoon feed the Congress.
It's
right?
not. They're going to do what it takes to divert.
So that they're going to do it, right? So it doesn't help when.
So don't get diverted. So the example I give, and recent example, is the lion on the parliament. And all the opposition was arguing about the lion is growling, not smiling. The lion earlier was smiling. Like, why are you falling for the BJP's trick? Let the lion growl, let the lion smile, let the lion be petted, let the lion be aggressive. How does it matter to you? You raise questions of the government that need to be raised. Why are you arguing on the lion? The day the Congress in Mumbai had that meeting, the India Alliance had their second meeting in Mumbai at the Hyatt. This is the formation of the India Alliance in September last. 2023. BJP came out with a little joke saying that India's name will officially be changed to Bharat. Unofficially, they put it out.
Yeah, that was a joke. They were trolling.
Congress, instead of putting the Hyatt agenda forward, how the India Alliance had formed, how there was opposition unity, how 60% of the country would have relieved that didn't want to vote the BJP, how you had something to give the country, you're fighting whether the name of the country is India or Bharat. Why are you getting into that debate? That debate helps the BJP. You say whether the country is India, Bharat, or whatever you want to name it. How will you give us jobs? How will you give us employment? How will you take the economy up? How do we get 8% growth? Can we talk about those issues? Period. You name the country what you want, please talk about these issues. Why do you play on the BJP's pitch? India was our old name. It comes from Indus. Bharat is this. Why do you want to get into it? How does it matter?
But isn't it the nature that isn't it the essence of this country's discourse where we constantly discuss what should not be discussed?
Yes, we do.
From dad boards to everything. And we never talk about real issues. Like in the last 3 weeks, let's take the case. I mean, I have discussed the Ranveer Allahabadiya case so much. So I'm glad the Supreme Court now has allowed him to, start posting content again. But like, I was just reading the comments of the honorable judge, and boss, I tweeted this out openly. Now let the the honorable.
I've stood by Ranveer.
Yeah,
I met him. I stood by him. I've been advising him.
I mean, is this what a justice of the Supreme Court should say? So on Samay Raina speaking in Canada about Supreme Court proceedings, quote, this is from Bar and Bench. One of them went to Canada and spoke about all of these. These young and oversmart ones think they know more than this. Possibly they do not know the jurisdiction which this court enjoys. Is this the message the top courts of this country should be giving? I mean, forget that. I think the most, and I had actually, said, this was my literal quote tweet. This is the most uncle-esque statement I've read in my life, where Justice Kant says, there are some people who are writing articles on free speech, etc. We know how to handle them also. Every fundamental right is followed by duty. There are restrictions also. Where are we heading? This should not be an issue.
It should be a very big issue. It should be scary that someone had to move to the Supreme Court, the apex court of India. It should be scary that the apex court of India, which should sit on constitutional matters, is sitting on liberty. Liberty should be defaulted. It should be scary that the Assam police and the Rajasthan police, by the way, both are BJP real states, jokers, have left their job and coming to Mumbai, Pune, finding people. They say Assam or Rajasthan.
Mumbai police ko koi kaam nahi hai kya?
Mumbai police summoning them. Like, what is going on? But look, there is a bigger thing at play here. The amount of people offended. Now, I'm not defending what the guy said, and nor are you. But look, I mean, it was a bad joke.
No, why are we giving that caveat?
Why are we giving the reason
caveat?
I'm giving it is because even if you're offended, you have a right to be offended. And I get that you have a right to be offended.
Hello.
Please. And please, if you're right to be offended, don't watch his shows again. Boycott his podcast. If you don't like our podcast, please don't watch it. Why are you going and filing police complaints and making this an issue about morality and Indian culture and laws? And when these debates happened, I was on NDTV Hindi with a very famous comedian. So this guy who's upholding the morals of India tells that Ranveer should be hung, should be treated like a terrorist. The same comedian is on another channel with me. By then I'd given it to him on the first channel, and even the anchor, to be fair to her, told him that this is not a terror charge. On the next channel, he says, because then he couldn't repeat these charges, and I was telling him, if you're here for morality, your language is not good. He tells me, oh, but would you like your parents, watch your parents making love? You're here on a morality show. Your whole argument against Ranveer is morality on a podcast, and you're saying the same thing about my parents on national TV. This is the level we've fallen down to. Everyone and their uncle was outraging. There was one guy who wrote a very bad version of the Ramayana, and I know you have all these books here, and I love the Ramayana. He made a very bad. He wrote a version of it which was criticized, heavily criticized. He was also out there outraging.
Huh?
Yeah, I'm telling you.
See, this is why I find it
so in a movie before. In a movie, he made a terrible version of it in a movie.
The point is that there was recently that horrifying case of the KIIT suicide.
Yeah.
Right? That girl was badgered and tortured mentally that she had to take her life. Okay. Nepal is our soulmate. Nepal is literally India's soulmate.
True. And
India's foreign policy has been, see, the one good thing that I appreciate about the entire political establishment in India is, TV pe bakwas chalti hai, they're mature. They don't change the foreign policy much.
True.
Since Nehru to Modi,
correct,
our foreign policy has been very stable. Stable.
Nothing.
A little bit of a tweak here and there, like if BJP comes,
but usse zyada
kuch hota nahi hai. BJP goes a little bit more towards Israel, Congress doesn't. That's the only difference. That's the only demand.
By the way, all the Israeli embassies and all started when Congress was in power.
Yeah. So
very clear.
India's foreign policy is stable. But now Nepalese living in India, I believe it's their right to live in India.
Yeah.
They can go. अबे उनको वीजा भी नहीं लगता हमारे देश में आने को. Basically वो हमारा ये है कि ठीक है तुम तुम्हारा देश रहो, मगर ये तुम्हारा देश है. तुमको जब आना है आओ, जब जैसे आना है आओ. And they also treat us the same way. And this is what we give to them. The bloody teachers saying nasty things to them, students saying nasty. But the moral outrage of this country is on some stupid 2000s Reddit joke. But see, this is my criticism of the opposition also. The opposition also did not come out.
They should have stood up for free speech. And I am telling you, it is crazy. Just look at it politically. The young voters that the opposition lost out to, they could have just gotten, they were all upset with what the government was doing. You could have, it was just say, we will stand for free speech. We think this is, you have to put a caveat in politics. Say this is crass, ghatya, but sorry, we will not arrest. You all are podcasters. This is a new generation economy. We will protect you. वो regulation करना चाहते हैं, हम आपको protect करेंगे. Guess where the voters are going?
Yeah.
You lost it.
And this was your one opportunity to actually screw BJP in the urban voter base.
Completely.
But the Congress doubled down on Ranveer Allabadia.
It is because they thought he was a BJP guy. And the irony is the BJP governments went after him.
This is the Ranveer Allabadia case is actually a proof of the cluelessness of the Congress.
Is a proof of everything in our country that you should not be outraging. You know, the day this case happened, there was a woman who was raped by her husband, anal raped.
Yeah, I know.
And she died.
I know.
And at Chhattisgarh High Court, I think it was.
I think so, yeah.
Yeah, but it was, I think it was whichever High Court it was. Let go husband go. Because he says, yeah, you can have sex with your wife.
Yeah.
And we weren't outraged about that.
Yeah, this country will not discuss marital rape. This country will not discuss many economic parameters. This country will not discuss free trades. This country will not discuss anything that matters. Like, should we not be worried that, let's say, in terms of PhD output, India is way behind China and America and many of the other countries in the world? Should we not be worried? And imagine our parliament has become a joke. Our parliament is actually now like वो मतलब बोलते हैं ना comedy series चालू है, एक weird sort of but then if you see, I meet people, you meet people, why are the ones who are running the Congress party? I don't understand who runs the Congress party now. I'm being very straight up. I mean, do the NGOs run it? Does the family run it? Who runs it? Nobody knows. Or the family runs it with the NGOs. It's very confusing to me that they don't get any feedback. I mean, 3 इलेक्शन हार चुके हैं ये लोग लोकसभा के बाद. ये लोग लोकसभा हारे जीते नहीं है. ये लोग अभी भी सोच रहे हैं ये लोग जीते हैं क्या ये लोकसभा?
But you know, the whole point of the Lok Sabha was there was a momentum for the Congress. There was a momentum. You stopped the BJP below the majority mark, 240 or the BJP got. Fair enough. You had a majority. You didn't. It wasn't possible to defeat the BJP mathematically. You did almost best of what you could do mathematically. If you would have asked me, and I was leading the opposition, the Congress would have got 125, 130 seats easily. But leave that aside. 99, not a bad performance. Haryana and Maharashtra was for the taking. Just look at Maharashtra, what you did. To answer your question, you had an actor who talks about feminism over wine and cheese and all the high-end parties, going and meeting a Maulana for her husband's election, who endorsed the Taliban.
Yeah,
Hoga. Can you believe it? Then you had another Samajwadi Party MLA who went and met another Maulana who somehow thought in Gujarat he could do Ghazwa Hind or jail se bahar aaya tha. Now, in an election where the BJP is actually looking to polarize the election, you're going and meeting Maulanas who are rabid. The BJP will do what it takes to win the election. Why are you falling prey? And if you actually see, and I told this to Barkhadat and I'll say this to you, polarization by the BJP does not work by itself. If the other side does not polarize, BJP's polarization was a lot more in Jharkhand than in Maharashtra. Lot more. But Hemant Soren didn't fall prey for it. Hemant Soren was like, will Jharkhand be run by Assam? Will it be run by Delhi? Jharkhand should be run by Ranchi, etc. He stuck to those issues and the tribal issues. He didn't fall into the Hindu-Muslim issue. The polarization did not work. In Maharashtra, the polarization was lesser. But the minute you had the other side polarizing, then the divide becomes intense. Because by nature, Hindus don't polarize. Hindus by nature don't get polarized. Unless there is... So when you start polarizing and you make people remember the identity, that's when the polarization happens. Otherwise, Hindus don't like to polarize. Now, you see the Delhi elections, the BJP won. Obviously, it was anti-incumbency against Arvind Kejriwal. They didn't need to polarize the election.
Yeah.
Because they knew Arvind will not fall prey for it. He would not allow the election to get polarized. So they didn't need to do it. So polarization just by itself does not work. The BJP cannot simply win an election by doing a polarization on Hindus. It doesn't work like that. Hindus don't get polarized. That's why we are a secular country. Let's accept why we are a secular country. Because by and large, Hindus don't get polarized. But if you're going to a Maulana who's saying Taliban is great, even a liberal Muslim gets worried like what is going on.
Yeah, but the same person is also now going around, making ridiculous comments on
Chhatrapati
Sambhaji Raje.
Can you
I mean,
believe-
living in Maharashtra.
Can you believe it? One of the well and most documented historical facts is how Aurangzeb tortured Sambhaji Maharaj.
Yeah.
It's as documented as, it's a historian's, it is exactly there for any historian to read. It is so well documented that act of Aurangzeb was an act of brutality, of crudeness, of cruelty to the highest degree, of how the skin was removed, the nails. It is documented there, and there are several historians. Not one contradicts. You won't even find one interpretation of all these loony historians who say nahi shayad galat ho. Even they accept it is as documented and as fact checked as it could be. And then you say it is fiction. Like, what are you on?
Yeah, and the one hill, see, you've actually made a very good point that Hindus will not polarize until or unless they're forced to polarize.
I don't think even then they polarize. I think it's a wrong word to say Hindus polarize. You see, Hindus don't polarize. Hindus only become one when you sense that the other side is sort of coming to your territory. It's similar like what's happened in Canada now. We say, okay, let's at least form a group and be together. Even then, and because you spend a lot of time in Canada, you will never see a Hindu hating someone else. It is becoming one. There's a difference between becoming one together and a difference between attacking somebody else. So you say, okay, there is some sort of a movement here. That side is coming together. We should also be together. I think being together is fine. But the polarization will happen when you have people saying, let's move the police out for 15 minutes. I'm not saying there aren't extremist elements on the BJP side or the right
There
side.
are. I mean, in Hyderabad, दोनों साइड में वही है ना.
Absolutely.
वो कौन है? राजा सिंह है उसका नाम.
Yeah, exactly.
मैं तो नाम लेके बात कर रहा हूँ.
He's an MLA, by the way.
He's an MLA. मगर अकबरुद्दीन भी तो ऐसा ही है फिर.
So there will always be that. But by and large, you don't see Hindus polarizing. That's the nature of how the culture of Hinduism is. More than I don't want to go on to the religion, the culture of how Hinduism is, because I think culturally we all Hindus. So the culture of how it is, you don't really polarize. You're okay with diversity because the nature of the religion itself is so diverse. So you're okay with it. Actually, Islam also is very diverse. The problem that what's happened also in India, and I think this is something that well-meaning Muslims should raise now. I'm getting into territory that could get us both into trouble. I already have gunmen and believe me, because I stood up for Nupur. So, and I'll come to some of these jokers, but I'll tell you also, I think what Muslims should stand up for. Those who are representing Muslims on TV. One, I don't know why the TV channels call those guys. Those sort of, they claim to be religious scholars. I don't know if they are or not. There is an education and a degree for that. So I don't know how many of them actually are. But the stereotyping must stop because I think it's harming the community. There was somebody who was showing me a reel today about the kind of people who are making these Instagram reels from the Muslim community who are supposed to be influencers. And they're all Mumbai people because I was coming, I just seen these reels, and they all tend to act like these little galli ka bhai. They all walk like this. So all these
it's all for machismo.
Yeah. So I think the perception's going against the community because even Islam by itself is very diverse. It is such a diverse religion, and also in India, Indian Muslims, I firmly believe, are very integrated in Indian culture. Again, I'm not saying that there aren't.
No, by and large, they are. I think.
I mean, you come to Mumbai. No. Have you ever met a Muslim who say "Main Ganpati mein"? Have you ever met one?
See, the point is, my biggest worry is when. See, in Hinduism, it's a theological question also that in Hinduism the nature and the structure of the religion is it's a very bottom up sort of a faith
Correct.
system. It's a distributed system.
Correct.
So and it's open source. So and this is a problem with all monotheisms where and this is not a critique of monotheism. This is just me saying monotheism is like this. Non-monotheistic faiths are different. So in Hinduism it becomes easier to diversify in that sense. With monotheistic faiths, and this is why I'm saying monotheistic, not Islam, is that the control of the top is a requirement by default. And which is why Protestantism was such a breakaway from Catholicism in
Correct.
that sense, right? Because what was Protestantism? It was basically breaking the monopoly of the intermediary, right?
Correct.
The Protestants said, "तू यार बीच में मेरे और मेरे भगवान के बीच में काय को आ रहा है भाई?
Correct,
तू हट side में."
correct.
And it
Which is a lot like Hinduism.
yeah, and eventually I think Islam में भी ये होना पड़ेगा.
It's already, so there are sects. So for example, the sect that I follow, the Aga Khan Islam, I'm an atheist, but I was born into it, is very liberal, extremely liberal. In fact, the Aga Khan is very popular in Canada.
Yeah, I know.
He's also friends with Mr. Trudeau.
Yeah, very
good friend.
popular.
Very popular. But he passed away though.
Yeah, I know.
But very close to Mr. Modi, very close to Mrs. Gandhi. A lot of development work. But you see what the faith teaches us. So I can talk about what I was born into. Now, of course, being an atheist, was listen, pray wherever you want. Think of God. Be a good human being. Cannot discriminate against anybody. Wear what you want in the prayer hall. It doesn't matter. In fact, the Aga Khan, who just passed away, his grandfather in the 1800s. So what is called what is that word for it? They say कि उन्होंने क्या निकाला?
Fatwa.
हाँ, so we are उसमें होता है फरमान, not fatwa, farman. So the imam gives you guidance. The farman is very clear to men. What a woman wears is her problem inside the Jamaat Khana. Please don't model police women. In the 1800s, women education compulsory in the 1800s. अभी बेटी बचाओ, बेटी बढ़ाओ, बेटी पढ़ाओ तो अब शुरू हुआ. It's 1800s. Women are 100% literate. So triple talaq was not allowed. So it's a faith that has sort of interpreted the Quran, and to today's this thing, the interpretation is different. So I think there is a lot. The Bohris for themselves, the Bohrism are very progressive. So I think there is always, Islam itself is so diverse, and I think sometimes I feel bad that these progressive voices are not coming forward. They should come forward because the representation, particularly on visual media, both social media and television, is getting marred for Islamic followers in India by people who I don't know if they are the complete representatives.
No, they are not. But see, you somewhere down the line, इसमें तो कांग्रेस को दोष देना पड़ेगा. I think they messed up during Shah Bano. That's where the actual crux of India's modern day problems lie. It starts with Shah Bano, goes to Ram Janmabhoomi. People say Ram Janmabhoomi. No, Ram Janmabhoomi would not have been catapulted so fast. I'm not saying it would not have happened. Ram Mandir would have happened come what may. That's a separate.
I think Rajiv Gandhi also wanted it.
Yeah, he wanted it, but why did he do Shah Bano? See, my point of looking at these things is, I don't look at groups. I look at individuals.
Right.
My thinking is the constitution should be about the individual, not the group.
I agree with you.
Right. In India, it's the complete opposite.
Yeah,
look at Justice Suryakant. He's all about groups. He's not about individuals. This time the representation is the imaginary, fictitious uncle-auntie group of India. So I'm just using him as an example here. Indian lawmaking, whether it's the BJP, whether it's the Congress, whether it's any political party, is putting group rights above individual rights.
Which is terrible.
It is the most dangerous
thing. Because then the mobs form.
Yes.
Whichever mob.
You can't answer to the
mob.
Like that's why I don't answer to any mob.
And the problem with the mob formation is then whose morality? The mob's morality. And I'll tell you what is another problem with Indian policy making. And this is when I visualize myself in government. All laws should not be over a page. A law should be maximum 1 page. If you have to explain a law, it's a bad law.
But so court judgments का क्या करेगा भाई? 2,000 पेज की judgments होती हो.
So that's something I will have to work on when I'm in government. Laws cannot be more than a page. 3/4 of a page. Really, you want to push it 1 page. You should be a law of 2 lines in a law cannot be more than a page, period. If you have to explain a law, it is a terrible law because a law by nature should be explainable. कि भाई आप ये कर सकते हो, आप ये नहीं कर सकते हो, ये करोगे तो जेल में जाओगे, ये नहीं करोगे तो नहीं जाओगे, खत्म. It should be as simple. Why do you have to explain it? I was reading the papers and again, the whole bureaucratic process, even something as simple as that exception which we all hailed when I went after Nirmala Sitharaman ji and the tax terrorism, and then she said 12 lakhs tak no tax. Look at the page work and the paperwork for that. Such a bureaucratic exercise. Everything in our bureaucrats, our judiciary, our politicians like to complicate everything for no reason. And I was telling somebody yesterday, the first thing I will do when I come to government, the first order I will do is cut bureaucracy by 50%. First, the minute I do that, half of this country's problem is solved. Second, the judiciary will have to work with the government and the opposition to appoint the new judges. It cannot be the system that is there. The government and the opposition, because I am democratic, I don't want government control because that will make me dictatorial. So there will be the leader of opposition, there will be the government, will scrutinize judges who go. And judges, irrespective of the ideology, have to stand up for the constitution, which is liberty, period. You have to. I mean, you're going for bail to Supreme Court. ये lower court का काम है bail देना.
नहीं, मगर ये भी तो एक बहुत बड़ा point है, which actually Barkha raised on her podcast when I was part of that show discussion, where Barkha had said that this is also a classic case where Ranveer Alabadia could afford a Chandrachud.
Yeah.
इसके लिए उसको सुनवाई मिली, हर आदमी को नहीं मिलेगी इस देश में.
Which is the point. So when I spoke to him,
तो जेल में बैठ जाएंगे 6 महीने लोग.
Which is what when I spoke to him, he got Justice Chandrachud's son to represent him. I'd spoken to 2 very senior Supreme Court lawyers, very senior. I had. So in case, because Chandrachud is still a junior, in that sense, he's not a senior designated lawyer, but he's a very good lawyer, right?
His book on free speech in India is brilliant.
Mind blowing. So Abhinav was there, but I also had spoken that in case you need somebody else who stands up. But look, again, it's all privilege, right? And see, again, Ranveer does deserve it. Nobody should go behind jail for a joke. Nobody should.
No, I understand.
So I mean, that's good for him. Maybe got him pro bono. I don't know the finances, but he could manage it. Maybe it is finance, maybe it is connections, maybe it is popularity. But does the last man standing, that poor person arrested in Bihar for a post, that poor person arrested in Jharkhand for a post.
अरे आसाम में एक IAS के पोस्ट के नीचे उसने हा का इमोजी लगा दिया, उसको ले लिया.
Can we believe what we're doing? And why aren't courts coming up and telling lower courts that liberty is sacrosanct? Actually, what's happened also is we've turned around this thing. We've turned around 2 basic law doctrines or law principles. One, bail not jail is the right. Second, you're innocent until proven guilty. And even in TV debates, you hear this. अरे आप जेल में गए ना, आपको बेल नहीं मिला ना, आपको जेल मिला. Bail should be a right.
So here's my theory. So tell me where you stand on this. I believe in India, all political parties pander to a conservative of some kind.
Correct.
Okay. It's just that the religion changes.
True.
The Congress panders to the Christian Muslim conservatives by and large. The Sikh conservatives have the Akali Dal, so they have their own party, so they do their own thing. And they are, because a giant chunk of the Sikh community stays in Punjab, so you have a Punjabi party over there dealing with that. So the Hindus also needed one party to look at it. So the socially conservative bent of the Hindu has distributed itself very smartly in India. Notice in Congress and BJP both.
Yeah.
And they control both the parties.
Yeah.
They control both the parties, whether we like it or not. Yes, in Congress, the Muslim Christian conservative is also equally powerful, or in some cases more. But liberty comes at the cost of somebody's hurt sentiments. Like the concept of liberty is I'm thinking. If I'm thinking, I'm going to hurt people. And we can't be in a situation where all political outfits in India are under the thumb of some religious conservative. They are all pandering to. मेरे को लोग बोलते हैं ना, BJP is conservative, Congress is not. And I've done this game. I've played it so many times. I remove the name of the party. I just read statements. And I tell them, guess the party. To my so-called experts in the West. They always get it wrong. Because India में सारे एक जैसे हैं, other than a few cultural issues, let's say on Ram Mandir and uniform civil code and stuff like that. Like now I want to ask you about uniform civil code.
Ask me.
How can a country like India allow? But the argument is, why are you not expanding it to tribal women? I was like, okay, if this is your logic, why did you not criticize Nehru? Like I've always said this to my Congress friends. Nehru brought the Hindu code bill. Basically, it was a uniform civil code for Hindus. That's what Nehru did. उसने बोला कि भाई ये बाकी लोग तुम रहने दो, मैं हिंदू औरतों को बचा लेता हूँ. which is actually the worst mindset in my opinion. That means that's what the classic case of soft bigotry of low expectations is. तुम सब तो है ही ऐसे. फिर आज अगर बीजेपी कह रही है कि ठीक है, अदर देन ट्राइबल कम्युनिटीज, बाकी सबको भी अभी एसेंशियली हिंदू कोड बिल नहीं बोलना चाहिए उसको. हिंदू कोड बिल में हिंदू तो कुछ है नहीं. हिंदू कोड बिल इज एक्चुअली अ सेक्युलर कोड बिल.
So I think the Muslims are doing a big disfavor to themselves and the community by
Yeah.
posting it. And I'll tell you why.
10 करोड़ मुस्लिम औरतें हैं यार इस देश में.
No, let me tell you more than that. Polygamy is not the highest amongst Muslims.
No, it's in tribals. It's
Period.
in tribals.
Government data.
Yeah.
आपको क्या लेना देना?
Yeah.
Number 2. Average age of marriage of a Hindu and Muslim girl, once educated, is almost the same. Few months here, there.
Yeah.
Average total fertility rate is the same. अभी मुसलमान को एक ही दिक्कत हो रही है कि वो लड़की को 1/3 देता है, he gives 2/3 to the boy. आप ही की बेटी है, दे दो ना आधा. वो एक पॉइंट के लिए क्यों कर रहे हो? बाकी तो now let's look at it even from a Hindu-Muslim lens, which I don't want to, but let's look at it. The Hindu undivided family tax break, 80% of the Hindus are dependent on it. So if you bring this in, that will have to go.
And it should.
But that's a debate for parliament to have. So again, our Hindu fellow citizens also will also have to sort of make some adjustments or let go of certain amount of benefits. So in any case, the Pew research shows the most number of young girls below the age of 10 who are married, 80% of them is Hindu girls. Anyways, it's not the Muslim girls, which should not be allowed, Hindu or Muslim. So in anyways, it does not affect Muslims. The Uniform Civil Code, welcome it. What's happened and what scares me on the UCC is what Uttarakhand did, the live-in thing. I was like, then all this side people, because I was like, I would go on TV and I'll be like, yaar, जिसको लाना है UCC लाओ, मुस्लिम को क्या फर्क पड़ रहा है इससे? मुस्लिम को वैसे वो कोई उस श्रेणी में नहीं है. तो अगर कोई बच्चा है तो यही है. और जहां where the Muslim, where in Muslims where it's higher, they should also stop it. So great. Suddenly Uttarakhand gets this living in thing and everyone says, आप तो बहुत इसके पक्ष में थे, अब बोलो. And I'm like, dude.
No, see, the Uttarakhand bill, I actually did a detailed podcast on that entire legislation with my friend Nikhil Mehra. Everybody should check that out. In that, we had a hearty laugh on this section. But yeah, 98% of the bill actually is sensible. No, the problem is this live-in relationship bill का bit. यार उसको निकाल दो यार, रजिस्टर. अबे साले, by the time मैं decide कर रहा हूँ उसके साथ रहना, तू मेरा registration का time आ गया.
But what if? We are not giving ideas. We don't want cases. But I'll tell you, what if the girl and guy says, यार 6 महीने का register करना, after 5 months, 10 days they break up. 10 days break up. You are toxic.
Yes.
I'm breaking up. And on the 6-month, second day, they patch up.
Yeah, this is ridiculous. वही तो मैं बोल रहा हूँ. This is a nanny state mindset.
Why is a state getting into your bedroom?
Exactly my problem in this country. Why? But there is no political party who says this. So all of them are pandering to some nut job of a religious sect.
And everyone will find a way around it.
Yeah.
They'll live in for 5 months, 10 days. वैसे किसी को तो holiday के लिए जाना है, घर वाला है, चले जाओ, breakup हो गया. Now we're guessing we हमारा breakup हो गया, sorry, 5 months, 10 days, नहीं register का है. We patched up 1 month later.
मतलब क्या register यार, who is this
and who is
crazy person?
And HDMs would maintain the register. अब HDM के पास आप चले गए, आप बोलो भाई, who's living with whom? The whole data is available. You know how great data protection laws are. If you don't believe me, you're all getting phone calls. Where's the camera? You're all getting phone calls. Do you want to buy real estate? Do you want to buy whatever? Your data is everywhere. But look at the nonsense going on. HDM is or a BJP all HDM maintain करेगा register. Bro, HDM.
अरे यार, this is my fundamental problem, that liberty every time dies because this is the uncle auntie mindset. The Uttarakhand bill, the judgments in the Ranveer Allahabadiya case, everything. Article 19(2) B है शायद. It's subject to public decency and morality. अबे वो कौन decide करेगा?
And just to explain, 20 years ago, Choli ke piche, they couldn't play that song on TV.
Yeah.
Today, families dance on it in weddings.
अरे यार, बिहार क्या करेगा? बिहारी इंडस्ट्री क्या करेगी अगर decency and morality की बात आ गई? And you know what bothers me is, I called out a few parliamentarians on this is because I'm like, I'm sorry, either you leave the parliament.
Yeah.
But if you're in the parliament, you're free game for me. I'm going to call you out. This is nothing personal on it. Yeah, people वो टेलिंग में अरे तुम्हारे पीछे पार्लियामेंटेरियन पड़ जाएंगे, और पढ़े यार, मेरे को क्या करने यार.
अरे ऐसे, look, the first 3 words of our constitution are we the people. Yeah, the makers of our constitution gave us power, not parliamentarians, judges, not even God. It's not I, the almighty God, almighty God. It is we the people. Why are we subservient to these people?
Yeah, I don't know.
But also, look, there is another aspect. One is this whole pandering to these groups and liberty being taken away in this aspect. But there's a bigger aspect, which is also the economical aspect. Once your Web 3.0, your new age industries are hit by censorship, by these morality groups, your OTT they want to censor now, podcast they're going after, that will never rise. India's power this is India's power and the young generation's power. And we should guard it with all our might. You cannot be censoring podcasts and saying you'll go to jail for a podcast, or now censoring OTT, or they want rules and regulations for OTT and bullying. This is a new generation industry. And then again, India is the 3rd largest consumer of porn in the world.
Yeah.
Porn is banned in India. Just everything's available. The point is, how do you stop it?
Porn is banned in India. Game of Thrones is available in India.
And then again, let me just come to a podcast part. You may say Ranveer's podcast is bad. How do you stop an Andrew Tate's podcast, whether you agree or disagree with him? There are people who disagree with him. When it's being done abroad, how do you stop that? How do you censor that?
Yeah,
Why will YouTube?
I think eventually, all these uncles and aunties, they will say we become North Korea or China.
So the only answer to this, and again, this is something that I have to push for me when I'm in government, is you don't like something, don't watch it. You don't want to read something, don't read it. You don't want to enjoy an art gallery, please walk out of it. You don't have the right to demolish and throw people in jail. And I think we have to put that in. And judges should guard that with full vigor.
Yeah, judges won't.
Without liberty, we will cease to be the economic superpower that we aspire to become. To be an economic superpower, you require liberty. Now, I know people will tell me China, etc. But China is the only exception. And do you really want to be a China? Except China. And China's economy is also collapsing. You don't know the numbers. The powers that have done well for themselves and the people are open societies, liberal societies, democratic societies. With one exception of China. But even in China, you don't know those numbers. You don't know what the economy is. You don't know how badly they're hurt. You know it's tumbling now. You know that they're in a problem. And you really don't want to be a China.
No, I don't care what China does economically. Yeah. Without liberty, a country and a society is not worth living in.
True.
Like,
give me life or liberty, I choose liberty.
Yeah, I will always choose liberty. I don't care. Yeah. And all these people who talk about it, nobody has the guts to say this. I say it all the time on my podcast. I find religious texts to be very complex. There are some magnificent sayings in religious texts, but there are some of the most deeply problematic thoughts that emanate directly from religious texts. I'm not pointing one. I'm saying all. And I have read them all. Why? Because I'm a bloody atheist. That's the first thing I did. Read religion. Why did I reject religion? I read it. I actually read it. The problem is nobody has the guts to call it out. Whether it was the Nupur case. No, the Nupur is one of the many cases in this country where religion gets this special privilege in this country. Nobody has the guts, including what happened when Barkha was talking to me about Ranveer. I said, Barkha, main religious text padhu tere channel pe. And Barkha said, nahi, tu chupa chatu. But why? This is my problem. We have surrendered to the writ of the mob. Bas aaye. Mob aayega, koi bhi chilla ke chale jayega. See, will we ever become Pakistan? No, because India is majority Hindu. Main seedha bol raha hu.
That's true.
That's why India will never become Pakistan, is because it is majority Hindu. But ye koi excuse hua? This is not good enough. Aaj हम लोग को फ्री मार्केट्स की तरफ जाना चाहिए.
Yeah, we're going towards a closed market.
क्या हम लोग पागल हो गए हैं? मतलब आज की डेट में हर कितने बच्चों की लाइफ फ्री इंटरनेट ने सुधार दी. ठीक है, कितने बच्चों की लाइफ. आपको नहीं अच्छा लगता ना, आप मत देखो. मगर नहीं, मैं भी नहीं देखूंगा, तुझे भी नहीं देखने दूंगा, उसको भी नहीं देखने दूंगा. And this moral panic, right? This moral panic stems right from the religious nutjob mindset. This moral panic of trying to control people, trying to make sure they don't. Oh, अगर मेरा नेबर होमो हो गया तो पूरा समाज होमो हो जाएगा. अरे भाई ऐसा नहीं होता है, वो छूने से नहीं फैलता है. तू पागल है क्या? ये लोग ऐसे ही है.
But I think that is, and again, that's a great point you raise, because 10 years ago, being gay was a crime in our country.
Yeah, abhi aage badhe na. So we are becoming better.
Yeah,
I'm very
in certain
happy.
aspects.
Yeah.
But again, we need to, but certain aspects we are okay. And I think we are an open liberal society. I think ye zabardasti ka people logo ke andar ye dal rahi hai. This idea of sort of restricting freedom, restricting liberty. When people say kuch to hona chahiye, even when the honorable judge says there must be some morality, what defines some? What is the definition of some morality?
अरे वो है
Who's
ना,
some?
18 प्लस हो गया तो अगर आप 18 साल के नहीं हो तो आप मत देखो ना उसको.
Exactly. And then there's the thing, what about a child who's 18? And I always say, if your parents can't control a child who's below 18, why do you expect the government, why do you expect Modi ji or Justice Surya Kant to control what your child watches?
Yeah.
It shouldn't.
Will
Either you control your child,
yeah.
you get into technology, you learn the technology, you'll get into things that block the websites.
देख मैं तेरे को बताता हूँ अभी मैं, I mean obviously this is not for people who are watching this, but देख YouTube में एक सिंपल सिस्टम होता है, तू इधर जाएगा ना,
हाँ,
इधर रिस्ट्रिक्टेड मोड करके एक है, ये
correct,
ऑफ है, ऑन कर दिया तेरे को कुछ नहीं दिखेगा इसमें.
correct.
That's it. Just put the restricted
And-
mode on.
And the device can be connected to your mobile, etc. So you know if your child learn how to put it off, क्योंकि मेरे जैसा लड़का होगा तो off on कर देगा, तो बाप को पता चलेगा उसने कीड़ा के. Then there are also website blockers. There are a lot of these website blockers that come in that on algorithms. So there is enough to stop it. The point that I'm trying to make is you have to control your child. Don't expect the state to control your child. And if your child's above 18, the debate ends. So in Ranveer's show, it's a ticketed show for adults only.
Not Ranveer, Samay Raina show.
Samay Raina show. Sorry, that's the one I want. It's an adult show for adults only, ticketed show.
No. How dare you?
But किसी ने देख ला और मेरा बेटा अगर देख लेता तो
वही है. तो वो but then what is the future of India's politics? See, I read Nalin Mehta's book. It was a fantastic, well-researched book on the changing landscape of Indian politics. I think the way the BJP has identified the caste matrix in this country and how they have, kind of built their coalition around primarily SC and OBC.
Correct.
With a bit of movement of STs now coming into BJP is no longer a Brahmin Baniya party. I think the opposition, the sooner they realize this, the better off they will be. In fact, BJP has completely moved from the Brahmin Baniya party to a SC, ST, OBC party now. And the BJP is here to say, Nalin's view till 2042, BJP ain't
and
losing.
Nalin is brilliant.
Yeah.
I really respect him.
But then still the opposition has a role. I come back to this point that I told you to the start when we started. Today, a person like me criticizes BJP more on average per capita. A person like Abhijit Iyer Mitra, many others, Anand Ranganathan, we criticize the BJP per capita way more on our respective platforms. I don't do TV, but you guys come on TV too. Then the opposition does.
I also criticize the BJP.
But bhai, मैं तेरे को बोल रहा हूँ ना, you are the exception, you are not the norm.
True.
Which is, do you see any hostility towards you from BJP people? No. In
Never.
fact, उनका सबसे बड़ा तो reaction होता है, ये उधर क्यों है? इसको तो इधर लेके आओ.
I've never. So let me be clear. Never. And that's what I think. For the sake of right wing, left wing, it's nobody's right and left in India. But for the sake of it, I do feel there is more acceptance worldwide with the right wing than the left wing. Worldwide, this is a worldwide phenomenon. The left wing calls itself liberal, but it's the most illiberal. The right wing is ready to engage and to have a bridge built. They may disagree. They may say, "Nay, boss, take it. Modi ji is the greatest period. Baki sab take it to bol de." That's fine, but they're talking to you. The left wing just doesn't want to engage. And that is a problem. That's a problem world over. That's why you see what's happening in the US with the Democrats, with those loonies like Ilhan Omar and AOC. You're seeing what's happening in India with the wannabe AOCs and Ilhan Omars in India. So there is a problem. And the sooner you understand this problem, the better it is to... Also with the left, my opening remarks, you and I were here. We are still here. The left has moved so behind that they think we are right. They've moved so behind. So they actually think we've gone way. Somebody like in this area, Milind Deora. Who will say Milind Deora is communal? And Milind Deora almost defeated Uddhav Thackeray's son. Had it not been for Raj Thackeray putting up a candidate, because the Muslims voted for Milind Deora. Because they are saying, we have million euros fathers worked for us, he works for us. He may have gone to Eknath Shinde party, but the guy is still with us. Muslims voted. He got the highest Muslim concentration vote, 25%. So why is it that we're looking at lenses? And why have you not thought that the rest of the countries evolved? In this case, in India, the Muslims have not evolved. The aspirations of the young Muslim is the same as the aspirations of the young Hindu. He wants a better life. He wants or she wants a life partner, a better job, a better car, a better house, a better life for the family, a better holiday. Why is that? Why aren't you seeing that? Why is it ingrained in the political party's head that the Muslim wants only one thing, which centers around his religion or her religion? It is not true. Religion is very important to them, but it does not only center around them. Their aspirations are the same. They also want a better quality life. Why can't we recognize that and reach out to them?
I think the problem lies that if Muslims reach that level of individualism and freedom, then all the ठेकेदार्स lose their उनकी दुकान बंद हो जाएगी. Honestly, I think ये classic case है. My biggest problem in India with Muslim conservatism is there is no secular space. There is no secular. You see, in India, in Hinduism, right? Whether it's Hinduism, Sikhism, Jainism, Buddhism, when I say all these 4 faith systems, and Christianity to a large extent too, in India, there is a secular space there, right? There is. Listen, if you're an atheist, you can be an open atheist Christian in India. Listen,
I'm atheist.
Yeah, but तहसीन
Muslim?
बहुत मुश्किल है यहाँ पे. तेरे को
नहीं.
भी मालूम है.
So I'll tell you.
You can be an open atheist who doesn't criticize Islam in India. Can you be an open atheist who can criticize Islam in India? Look what happens to ex-Muslims in India, yaar.
So there are 2 aspects. So I agree to some extent with you.
Yaar, can Taslima live in Bengal?
So okay, let me put this in this way. Let me give my example, because let me give 2 examples. So let me just put this in perspective. I think the rowdy right and the loony left are exactly what I call the horseshoe theory.
Yeah.
They're very close to each other. They want more violence. The only issue is that on this side, the left side, the loonies, I think not only are they more, they get more representation in terms of they create more halla on TV and social media, but I also think amongst the groups, because the other population is so large, these become a tiny minuscule minority. Here their numbers become significant, but they're still a very small minority. Most Muslims, in my opinion, are rejecting what we think is stereotypical beliefs of Muslim ethos, etc., in terms of leaving religious identity. So Muslims want to sort of be cosmopolitan. They want to come into society. They may have certain reservations. As that transformation happens, they are held back by 2 things: lack of spaces, where it's not easy to get spaces. So I think they then have to gatewise. Second thing, they've still not completely been able to break from the shackles of these so-called thought leaders, though I see that increasingly breaking away. I see the young Muslims questioning all those who claim to be Muslim leaders. And I'll give you an example. I went to Shaheen Bagh when the CA protest was happening. I was one of the speakers. And when I went to Shaheen Bagh, I remember this was night, one of the guy who would come on TV claiming to be a Shaheen Bagh representative. So my secretary called him up, told him, Bahar aao, I'm coming, receive karo ye wo. He said, Nani, first he was making a lot of reasons, and he was always on TV talking about Shaheen Bagh. But so there was a coffee shop there, I was waiting there. This guy somehow reached. When we reached the Shaheen Bagh place to speak, the people, they started beating him up because he would say such conservative things and Islamic things on or Muslim things, which the Shaheen Bagh protests, they were telling that it was not about Muslim, it was about the constitution. They were saying that. Now we can spin it anyway. I'm just saying what happened out there. I saw the guy almost getting chased out. Not almost, he got chased out. That is one part. The other part to it, the minute I stood up for Nupur and said things that are critical, that you cannot have Sartan Sijada, the threats were always there. There have been some visible threats. So I've had a crazy guy from what the police suspect to be the No Mewat region reach a podcaster's house, asking to blow me up. A podcaster's house, because he knew I did a podcast in Gurugram. A number of threats, including one from suspected to be from Lebanon, Now, this was not a WhatsApp call which can be internet. It was a proper call from Lebanon. So you have all these crazy people who also do this. So that there is both sides to the coin. And yes, it is important that somebody like me, I take these people out towards a more liberal area, and I have to integrate them. That is one of my role as a leader that I feel when I'll be, that all Indians must be integrated, irrespective of religion, gender, caste, or other financial constraints. We must only go ahead on basis of our merit, not because of our religion or a group or a caste or a gender. So I think that's something that I do want to work on. Something I get a lot of positive response from.
Yeah, so यही है ना यार, I can openly criticize religion as a Hindu and nothing is going to happen to me. That's just the fact in this country. I can personally, yes, there will be the odd beef obsessed person, but if you look at absolute percentages, the level of radicalization in India is way more in the Muslim community. And until and unless, and the only solution to that is more speech, more criticism, more discussion. The solution to that is not what a radicalized section of the Hindu community believes in the form of blasphemy laws and all that riffraff that has come up. I mean, I think the Hindus will deeply destroy this society. The veneer of plurality in India stems from the fact that Hindus are able to criticize their own religion. And we need to make sure that the Muslims also become like that. It should not happen that we become like that conservative element of the Muslim community. Another example on UCC that nobody wants to mention: the worst divorce laws in India are not Muslim.
Yeah, they're not Muslim.
They're Christian.
I agree.
They're Christian. Nobody talks about it. The worst divorce laws in India are not Muslim or Hindu. Just a second. I'm sorry. Christian divorce laws are the worst in this country. Nobody has the guts to talk about it because वो लोग मस्त में side में बैठे हुए हैं. बोले तुम कर लो. In my previous book I mentioned, if the Sikh community does not come under the rubric of the Hindu Marriage Act and only the Anand Act 2012 remains, Sikh women cannot seek divorce. Sikhism में concept नहीं है. Concept नहीं है. आप चक्रव्यूह है, अंदर चले गए, बाहर आ ही नहीं सकते. So the only constitutional framework that they had to come up with was, okay, everybody is under the Hindu marriage law. So all Sikhs are under the Hindu marriage law, and they seek divorce on the basis of Hindu Marriage Act. That is what they're doing. Why should we not be in a position to have these mature discussions in our country? I have called out everyone here. Hindu women were not given equal inheritance till the Supreme Court had to step in.
That's true.
After 2000, the Supreme Court stepped in and gave them equal inheritance.
That is a good thing for Supreme Court to do. These are constitutional issues they should decide.
Yeah, but
not free speech.
What nonsense are we talking about? And these are the kinds of discussions that should be happening in a country like India, but they never do. Now the opposition does it, now the ruling party does it. Ruling party लाती, अरे यार कांग्रेस का spokesperson ने जब ट्रिपल तलाक गया था, वो NDTV, this is pre-Adani NDTV, not post-Adani NDTV. NDTV का वो आर्टिकल मेरे को कभी नहीं भूलेगा जो मैंने पढ़ा था. कांग्रेस की नेता आती है, हम वापस पावर में आएंगे, हम UCC ट्रिपल तलाक वापस ले आएंगे.
Why would she say that?
Because they're like that.
There's a problem. I'll tell you now what the problem with this. Who was the spokesperson?
I forgot the name, but I'll give you the name of the person because I will never get over the fact that Congress ki spokesperson
actually said this.
Leader.
Give me the name.
Yeah, I'll tell you who that person was. Man, it was so crazy जब मैंने ये पढ़ा था कि ये लोग ने ये statement दी थी, and I was like, I mean, why would you say that? I mean, it was just weird for me that I was like, अच्छा ठीक है भाई, आप लोग कर रहे हो कि I mean, see, this was NDTV ka news tha. Will scrap triple talaq if we come to power, says Congress leader. this Congress leader was Sushmita Dev.
She's not in TMC.
How nice.
Not in TMC.
Now in TMC. She said this in 2009. And this is what...
But 2009 में तो Congress की government थी.
2019, sorry. 2019.
She then went to TMC since then. For a Rajya Sabha, I think. She's in a Rajya Sabha.
Yeah, तो भाई मेरे को एक बात बता.
So let me tell you something. I'll tell you what the problem is. There are two issues out here. And this is the next issue that I would like to take it to. One is just for your viewers to understand, triple talaq is still not abolished. Instant triple talaq is abolished.
I know.
Which is great because it has not.
Talaq-e biddat aur talaq-e kuch hai na ho.
Instant triple talaq. Simple karo, instant triple talaq is abolished. So it is wrong, morally, legally, as a man, that you one night suddenly WhatsApp your wife triple talaq. It's not right. There's a reason there was triple talaq, which at that time, because you could abandon women, to stop that, you had 3 menstrual periods, etc., which for that time was a progressive law. When Islam came in, that over 3 periods, you have to wait for 3 months before you divorce. So here's a 3-month period to reconcile. In case you're pregnant and you can't, you have to take care of the child, and then you have certain rules, which was at that time when Islam came up, was a progressive law. That still exists, triple talaq. Instant triple talaq's gone, where you're on WhatsApping the girl. No longer my wife, talaq. Of course you can't do that. So that part was good. Why would you want to stop that? It's not triple talaq, it's instant triple talaq. Now I'll tell you the problem is, and this is where I want to take it to. And this is what really worries me, bro. This is what worries me so much. Merit in our nation is, in the thought process, is dying. Every political party, including the BJP, you can remove Modi ji, Amit Shah ji, but every political party, including the BJP, they're all just kids who are kids of parents. So you look at Maharashtra, forget the top guns. 80% of your Maharashtra leadership, their parents were in politics. Look at Haryana, look at Bihar. It's the same families that run. Jab Congress power mein aati, the families in Congress. When there was the other parties in power, they were in power. Now when BJP is there, most of them shift to BJP. It's the same families. And what's happened is, now you look at all your regional parties, even if, let's say, we keep the 2 national parties, Congress and BJP, as an exception, for the only reason, not because I want to defend anything, the only reason that, let's say, the national parties have some sort of a consultation process that ultimately, even, as you said, even the family has to run it in consultation with the Gandhis or the other family. Even if you leave the 2 national parties aside, and you look at the rest of the political party, every regional party is run by the son or daughter of somebody. It's just become a family business. That is so scary. Nitish Kumar's son wants to come into politics. Even Nitish Kumar, whose whole politics is against Laluji for Parivarwad, his son wants to come in now. So, look at the states, Jammu and Kashmir. Both the regional parties are Dynasty. Punjab, your SAD, come down to I'm leaving the national parties out. Telangana, K. Chandrasekhar, Andhra Pradesh, Tamil Nadu, Karnataka, Deve Gowda, Maharashtra. Tell me a state where the regional party is not Dynasty.
The regional parties have always been like that in India. In fact,
crazy.
I
really want to understand why is it that only these kids are going ahead? Why aren't our talented kids going ahead? And look, this is now spreading everywhere. I can understand in business it happens, but in democracy where people are supposed to choose, and now even with your paparazzi in Mumbai, wo uska beta uska photo le rahe. I have nothing against it. Please take somebody's kids photos. I have nothing against it. But how many of these paparazzi, how many of our people in Mumbai who are researchers who have done stellar work are being pictured and are being made famous? So everything's become about whose child you are. It's very scary for a nation. Why it's very scary for a nation is because how will a nation progress if you don't have merit? If the only way to go ahead is your genes and your luck, that's not good for a country. I love my son. I love Zurwan to death. I would take a bullet for my son. But it's unfair if my son goes ahead over somebody else, not on merit, just because he's my son. The starting point for everyone should be the same. That is welfareism. And the progress should be based on merit, not based on who your dad is. My son can have certain advantages to get that merit. I may give him better tuitions, better schooling, better access to people like you who've read all these books. That can be an advantage. That you can't take away. But ultimately, that final line should be based on merit. How can you take that? How can that final line be based on that he's my son, so he has to go ahead, or she's his daughter, so she has to go away?
Well, one of the biggest problems in India is poor societies have a scarcity mindset, in my view.
Correct.
A scarcity mindset where everybody just gets insecure. So insecurity is kind of bred into the Indian system. In my opinion, it's very much an Indian problem now, because we just don't. So the pie is very small right now in India.
But these are the most powerful families in the country.
I know,
But then why is the pie?
and
small?
I think we are also grossly
Because they want to selfishly keep the pie.
I think we're grossly underrepresented in India.
No, so I'm going to push you on this, because those privileged families want to keep the pie rather than share the pie.
Yeah, that is one of the reasons.
But won't it make economic sense that the more I share the pie, the larger the pie becomes? Therefore, my own influence will actually become bigger.
I know, it's
rather than
rational. You're thinking rationally. You expect rationality from people who hold power. That's the last thing they do. They never think rationally. They think impulsively. That's the nature of power. I'll give you an example. When this entire thing, a lot of times people come to me and ask me that, Kushal, तू ये करेगा तो तेरा पॉडकास्ट बड़ा हो जाएगा, वो करेगा तो तेरा पॉडकास्ट बड़ा हो जाएगा, ऐसे करेगा तो वैसे करेगा. एंड देन दे मीट मी एंड दे लाइक, ये तो एक्टिवली रिपल्स करता है लोगों को, क्योंकि इसको बड़ा नहीं होना लाइफ में, मगर फिर करता भी रहता है और ये भी नहीं करता. मैंने बोला, इट्स नॉट दैट आई जस्ट डोंट रन आफ्टर दैट थिंग. एंड द बिगेस्ट प्रॉब्लम आई फाइंड इज दैट I'm so proud of the fact that their mom and dad gave me this quality, where my parents actually taught me how to enjoy somebody else's success equally as my success. And there have been instances, not just with you, like with Abhijit or anyone, like I would message randomly and I'm so proud of you. I think we are losing.
I do that. Yeah, I do that.
We're losing. No, I know you do that.
Yeah,
I know, that's why I respect it.
I'm like, yeah, celebrate, yeah.
And to me, I've done that with Shehzad also. So many times Shehzad says something, I'll just watch it and I'll just message Shehzad randomly. Like, bro, this was too good. And I'll message him. I was like, this was so funny. Tu kya karta hai?
Iske kya on TV. But coming back, so okay, even if you, because a lot of people get hurt today, so we
no,
we get easily hurt. Just look at it. Just look at Canada. That new toddler, Justin Trudeau.
Yeah, he is a toddler.
New toddler. And just because he came from privilege, look at what he did to Canada.
Yeah, the Bushes. The Bushes.
So you have to, and I remember during the first presidential debate where Trump was versus the Bush, and Trump goes and it's gone very viral. He says, listen, you have all these millionaires, Trump tells him, and you have your family power, and yet you're right on the edge and you're only kicked out, and I'm in the center. Because you know how the debates go. The least popular in the center, Trump had finally moved into the center when he won the Republican debate. And I'm talking 2016.
Yeah.
And he tells him, listen, that's why you're out, and you're going to go out of here. And for all the criticism of Trump and Elon Musk, why I like Trump, now again, you can say he came from privileged, rich family. I'm not getting to that. These are guys who made it on their own. They had certain advantages. I'm not saying that Trump didn't have certain advantages father, but in politics he made it on his own, right?
Yeah, but think about it. Why are they able to do that in America? Because the essence of the American society is liberty.
Is liberty and free speech.
Liberty
and free speech.
Yeah.
And then Elon Musk can criticize the president at that time, the one before, who just went out, Joe Biden, and not be afraid that his business will get raided. And even today, actors can come up on stage and criticize Trump, and yet none of them will be, their movies will be boycotted. That is the essence of being. And people say America's over. I say, no, bro, you don't realize America, the world hasn't seen the kind of power America has.
Which is why I often say that when the opposition has that fear hanging on its sword, or the opposite side, whether the religious opposite side, whether the political opposite side, whether the caste opposite side, when you have a hanging sword of the mob on you in a society like ours, this is exactly what it is. Americans can be can try to be vengeful, they might take your private job, but the state can't come after you, because people don't realize in a country like India, the state is too powerful. It becomes even more, which is why I criticize the BJP while I vote for them, which is why you should criticize, and you do criticize the Congress while you vote for them. In a society like ours, if we don't do it to our own parties, this society is doomed.
True.
Doomed. Why do you think I respect you so much? The reason for my respecting you is that if you are a patriot, the country comes first.
Period.
The party does not. Party is a means to an end.
Is a means to the end. And this is why I find it surprising. A lot of liberal people, either side, love Joe Rogan, but you want to go after Ranveer. You love Elon Musk, but you can't have an Elon Musk in India. You won't tolerate an IT.
कौन माएगा यार इधर? कौन करेगा धंधा?
You don't have. And if you do it, then the finance ministry will come after you. GST भरो.
अरे ये छोड़ दे यार, अगर तुम पॉडकास्टर बनोगे और मैं आज तू एक इमेजिन कर, ये लोग है ना बोलते हैं ऑर्डर में नहीं लिखा जस्टिस सूर्यकांत ने, ऑर्डर में नहीं लिखा जस्टिस सूर्यकांत ने. भाई ऑर्डर में नहीं लिखा, मगर उनके कमेंट्स बार एंड बेंच ने ट्वीट किए हुए हैं. ठीक है, उनके कमेंट्स इंडिया का हर एस्पायरिंग यंग क्रिएटर, ठीक है, वो पढ़ेगा. अरे ये छोड़, जब हम लोग लास्ट टाइम मैं अमित वर्मा के साथ पॉडकास्ट रिकॉर्ड कर रहा था, ये था जोक मारते मारते, मैं इसका नाम नहीं लूंगा, मगर इसने मेरे को बोला था ये एडिटर को भी जेल में डालेंगे क्या अभी? अरे यार क्या देश है ये, क्या देश है ये कोई पागल लोग हैं हम लोग. बट बिफोर वन मोर इशू आई वांटेड टू टॉक टू यू अबाउट, which is bothering me not just as a Mumbaikar, as a citizen of Maharashtra, because there are many municipal corporations in our state. This is our state. So I'm talking about states issues. ठीक है, I think पुणे म्युनिसिपल कॉर्पोरेशन का भी इलेक्शन नहीं हो रहा है, मुंबई का नहीं हो रहा है, थाने का नहीं हो रहा है, किधर भी नहीं हो रहा है. अब मेरे को एक बात बता, एक अच्छी ऑपोजिशन का काम नहीं है बैंड बजाना गवर्नमेंट का, इसमें ये क्यों नहीं है न्यूज में?
I don't know. And bureaucrats are running.
भाई कब तक चलेगा ये? मेरे को पब्लिक रिप्रेजेंट, मेरा कॉर्पोरेटर ही नहीं है यार.
Can you believe it?
4 साल हो गए यार.
Opposition should have blocked. You should have sat on dharna outside the High Court.
They are not.
Like High Court से डंडा मिलना चाहिए, वहां बैठना चाहिए, इलेक्शन कराओ. And actually, if you do it, the public will en masse come with you. BJP voters also vote for you. यार इलेक्शन कराओ. It is so normal now to not have elections in India, and it's so scary.
But
it starts with corporation.
Yeah.
Even and this is why I'm going to be brutally critical of the Delhi Assembly. I dislike Aam Aadmi Party, but anything happens, the speaker saying we'll throw the opposition out. Yaar, naare laga rahe out. Yaar, it's an assembly. They have to sort of make speeches, and then you don't allow them to come inside the compound of the assembly. I can understand you stop them in the main body of the assembly or the parliament. How can you stop a MLA or a parliamentarian from entering the complex? How is the police going to stop them? This is scary, and people are okay with it. I don't understand.
Because हर आदमी वही करता है ना. ये लोग होते हैं तो ये लोग उनके साथ करते हैं, वो लोग होते हैं तो वो लोग इनके साथ करते हैं.
ओशो की एक बहुत अच्छी बुक है. Osho says a beautiful thing. He says कभी इंडिया में you should look at a watchman. आप कभी वॉचमैन को आपकी गलत जगह पे लगा लो तो वॉचमैन टॉक टू यू वेरी रूडली, बिकॉज़ फॉर दैट 1 minute he has power. Everybody in India is there a watch at some डंडा लगाना है. And he says, see, from the smallest end, you take your car, get in the building, और मैं गलत लगा रहे ना, वॉचमैन पैसे में साहब, वो कुशल साहब की गाड़ी बाहर निकलती है, इधर गाड़ी लगाता है, अक्ल नहीं, देखो बाहर निकाल गाड़ी. वो 1 minute के लिए his importance, he's a साहब, and he's made you feel like shit. So that has to stop, this idea of bullying fellow citizens, of being the my baap over for fellow citizens. We don't have a culture in our country of treating people as equals.
Yeah, because it's a feudal system.
Everyone's a my baap.
It's a feudal system, bro. The biggest curse of India is the feudal mindset. I mean, you've hit the nail on the head. And until, like I said, right to the start, a constitution that puts groups above individuals, this is what you get in the end. I don't care if you're a religious or irreligious person. I don't care about your caste. I don't care about any marker other than are you a decent human being or not. Until we don't do that, this country is doomed. This country cannot go beyond a point. My biggest fear for India is that we will get stuck in the middle income trap in the next few years. See, we will grow. We'll grow till we reach $15,000, $10,000 average income.
That's true.
I want India to go to 60,000 average income.
Precisely. That is where, and I don't want India to be stuck in the middle income group. That will be terrible for India, and that will be a waste of opportunity. And what's happening in India today is precisely that. Look at the growth is slowing down. You don't have, look, for even to start a new venture, you require liberty and freedom.
Yeah.
And it should be easy in, easy out. If I've made a loss in the business, I pay my liabilities, I pay my whatever my tax outstanding dues are out. How can you criminalize business? How can you have a state hanging out?
Defamation is criminalized in this country.
Can you believe it?
You, I mean, defamation is criminalized. Which country has criminalized defamation?
Can you believe it? We have criminalized defamation. In fact, so I do believe defamation should be there. It should be soon.
Civic.
Civil. As a fast remedy, so that, because the process also so bad that it takes years to
jail में डालेगा.
But jail, criminal.
यार ये इसके लिए मैं बोल रहा हूँ ना.
And defamation should not work on media, by the way.
So if you were the opposition, before we wrap up, what are the top 5 issues you would be grilling this government on right now?
Economy. Number 1, economy and tax terrorism and Babugiri. It's terrible. Look at Trump. Look at the Argentinian president. They're reducing bureaucracy. We are increasing bureaucracy. They're cutting down government spending. They're making it less government. We are getting more government. Your government's come in your bedroom. We are sleeping, but your government wants the SDM to maintain a register. What the fuck, bro? I would cut down first on that. Second, very important, appointment of judges. Judges will be appointed. Independence of judiciary, undoubtedly, but judges will be appointed. Judges will have to go through a test in parliament, led by the leader of opposition. I would give that to him. But they'll have to show that they are liberal and they'll stand for the constitutional and individual rights. Individual rights have to get precedence. Only those people go as judges. So there'll be a government opposition role in appointing judges. Third, continuing with legal reforms, court will not tell parliament what laws to make. जो court अभी बोलता है ना ऐसे करो. Because then parliament, when I'm in government, मैं जज को बोला हुआ केस क्यों सॉल्व नहीं हुआ यहाँ पे फैसला करो. Then that'll be a free for all. So courts will have to maintain their line. Parliament will have to maintain its line. If I make something that's ultra wise to the constitution, courts have all the rights to strike it down. Courts may suggest something to me. Courts will not give guidelines कि आप ऐसे law बनाओ. वो नहीं होगा. That's third. Fourth, the idea that individual rights and must take precedence over all bureaucracy. What I mean to say is not just police state, tax terrorism, etc. And if there is a dispute, the dispute must be in favor of the individual till the state can prove its case without doubt. Not the other way around, where the state, where you are guilty till you prove to the state that you're innocent. Because the state has unlimited resources. So the any dispute, be it for anything, even something like a tax issue, an ED issue, a liberal issue, you will be held innocent until the state can prove its case without doubt. Not the other way around. Today you're picked up. You have to prove you didn't do it.
TDS में भी वही करते हैं.
TDS
किसी ने तुम्हारा TDS नहीं काटा तो तुम चोर हो. अरे भाई उसने नहीं काटा.
So please, exactly. So that. Then gender neutral laws. Again, I do believe women need certain amount of protection in our country because we are a country where women have historically been mistreated. I'm not taking away those protections, but there has to be protection for men for these laws not to be misused. That must come in. Not taking away from the women laws. They must be protected because obviously a lot of things.
So in the sense you're saying that there has to be some sort of a punishment if you misuse a law.
Misuse a law. Those cases should be tried in fast cases within a span of 6 months. Judges should be held accountable if those cases are not finished in 6 months, so that the person gets justice and the people can move on from justice. Taking that further, some things like divorces, etc. If it's mutual, you don't need to go through this whole court process of 2 years, 3 years. Let those processes happen online. Let it happen quicker. Get those processes in. So simplify the judiciary. Extend the age of retiring judges. 70 or 80% of your disputes in lower court is family disputes on property. 70 to 80%. Take the courts to those places where the disputes are. Set up mobile courts. So ask judges who have retired, who are fit enough to work, to solve these disputes, have a mobile court. This is my idea that I thought, an original idea. Let the mobile court say, so एक दिन धारावी में चले गया. धारावी का लिस्ट निकाला, 50 केस है. चाचा भतीजे का, डैड, 2 भाई का, जो भी है. वहां जज गया, उधर कोर्ट लगा, उधर तुम्हारा केस सॉल्व. खत्म. You'll I am saying 10-15% of those cases will go to the higher court, na? But you'll clear the choke up, na? Right now your courts are choked. Start clearing that choke up. So more justice can happen. More people can get access to justice. That. like I said earlier, liberty should be held at all times. And the last, the new economy. I would focus completely on the new economy, which means quantum computers, AI, laws for AI, global laws for AI. So somebody sitting in Canada, some extremist group sitting in Canada makes a video or an extortion call. How do I from India am able to prosecute him or have a trial or something? So that global conversation with democracies will have to be held as AI becomes real, and AI crimes will now cross geographies. They're already crossing it. We will have to start doing that. Maybe India can take a lead in that you start framing laws which are liberal, which allow for crimes that are conducted in other geographies to either be tried in that geography or some sort of an investigation or cooperation, again through medium of technology, allowing thereby access to people to get justice. किसी ने कुछ porn video बना दिया वहां बैठकर कनाडा में, लड़की का यहाँ पर उसको जस्टिस नहीं मिल रहा है, यहाँ पुलिस बोली हम क्या केस रजिस्टर करें, क्राइम तो कनाडा में हुआ. We must have a mechanism. We must have that global conversation, and India can lead that way and thereby create more opportunities for 3.0. And last, research. India needs research. We need our researchers. We need researchers from all across the world. India must become a research hub. You've read all these books. The reason India was a global power when it was because it was a place where people would come to study and research. What were all the various scholars across the world? Why were they coming to India? To seek knowledge. What does seek knowledge mean? They were coming, doing their research, learning, criticizing. For every book in India, there's another book, another way of life. Within Hinduism also, there are different ways of life. Within and everything is accepted. We must have an open society that allows research in. Unless we don't become a research-oriented society, how long can we be a copy-paste group? What is the one mind-blowing invention we've made in the last 20 years? Can you tell me?
Like our only achievement has been doing things that are already done at a cheaper cost.
Correct. What is our thing? And now with Elon and Donald Trump, for example, in the pharmaceutical companies saying, look, their pharmaceutical companies spend billions on research. Therefore, their medicines are so expensive. But India, Germany, the medicines are cheaper because as a part of WHO, you have to give the formulation and then these guys make it cheaper. So they have to be taxed. That's the argument Donald Trump and Elon Musk are making. Now, as much as medicine is a human root, those guys are spending real $1 billion. Why can't we do the research? Our research can even be we don't have to spend billions of dollars, but we could spend substantive money and also do quality research. Why aren't we doing research in fields that we need to? So I think we have to take these leads. We need to start talking about these conversations. These will actually create employment opportunities for people. Have we thought what happens in the next 20 years when AI becomes a reality? Your restaurant, I'm just giving an example. A restaurant will not need so many chefs. One chef, your robot will cook the food, 2 robots, one head waiter, one assistant waiter, remaining will be robots. Have we thought where those people will go? How will we employ them? How do we skill train them for an AI world? Are we going to live like an ostrich that AI is not going to come and AI is already here? Where are those people going to be employed? Have we thought about our service staff? Because now you have robots that will clean house, you'll have automatic cars in the next 20-25 years.
में भी है वो गोल वाला
वो गोल वाला है ना?
साफ करता है.
But imagine in 20 years how it will happen. And for those who are thinking that I'm talking too far ahead of time, 150 years ago, you didn't have a hot water shower.
Yeah.
100 years ago, you didn't have
Western world में तो लोगों को लगता है कि अभी ये right हो गया उनका कि गर्म पानी नहीं है.
You didn't have it 120 years ago, the hot water shower. So can you imagine how fast technology is progressing? Where are we going to take this young demographic? How are we going to accommodate them? This should be our conversation. We have to have a roadmap for them. Another thing for India to grow economically is the service industry, bro. If you want people to get out of the agricultural field, the agricultural sector, you want a landless labor to get up. Where will they get out and go? They'll come to Mumbai, Pune, Bangalore, Gurugram, Noida. What are they going to do there? So they have to start a spa, they'll start a bar, they'll start a library, they'll start a computer center, whatever they do. They will do the service industry, a pedicure place, a manicure place, a podcaster, a cameraman. You got to encourage the service industry. Now, to be a world-class service industry, to encourage world-class people to take those services, you need to speak English. We have to make English compulsory. I'm not saying don't learn your regional language and don't learn Hindi. I'm not saying that. I'm saying please or sub seeko.
No, but English should be treated like a skill.
Exactly. So then that guy can come, can give world-class services, can go across the world. These are the conversations we need to have. We are not having them. Our conversations are so stuck up on what podcasters cracking what joke. Dude, what is wrong with us? And we will kill the whole Web 3.2 industry.
That's the
And again, I asked, and this is true, I asked a person, I remember I was on this show, I was debating, by the way, the government still doesn't have a policy on crypto. So crypto is illegal, but gains from it, you pay taxes on it, but it is illegal. We have no policy on crypto, but the government will take taxes on what is illegal as per the government. So there's an ambiguity on crypto. And then I was on the debate, and when the whole crypto thing happened, they were getting a law to ban crypto. And I kept asking them, how do you ban a crypto which is on a blockchain? How do you ban something that's on a blockchain? So the guy didn't have an answer. So he says, "Aapko desh pe bharosa karna chahiye." But still, explain to me, how do you do it? And again, I'm not making it. So I said, look, to understand how this is, and he says, "Nahi, mining se, crypto mining se bahut nuksan hota hai." And I said, "No, bro, it's not mining like the ground. It is a math equation that you solve. It's actually as complicated as that, and they have right to privacy issue. Can the police just come in and check your power usage and computer usage?" But geez, we don't have a crypto policy. It's as basic as that.
I was having a conversation with a friend once, and I said, when I spend time with government bureaucrats or people who talk on behalf of the government, irrespective of the party, I realize they really don't get it. They don't understand technology. Like in this entire YouTube thing also, I just asked them, okay, you will stop India Got Latent. Okay? India Got Latent was inspired by Kill Tony.
Correct.
You can't stop Kill Tony.
Yeah.
So what are you going to do? Shut YouTube down? Or you will monitor every single video, every single clip that is going to be uploaded on the internet. Boss, what I have realized is most people are bad parents.
True.
And they want the state to be their parent.
Which is what we said earlier.
Yeah. And I don't want the state to be my parent.
Exactly.
मेरे को मतलब कभी भी वो मेरे को गोपी किशन का और डायलॉग, गोपी किशन का डायलॉग था किसका था, मेरे दो दो बाप करके. I don't remember which movie was this. So जो भी होगा कमेंट में मेरे को बताना है कौन सी पिक्चर थी. वो जाके घूम रहा था, चिल्ला रहा था जब वो डबल रोल का आ जाता है सुनील शेट्टी.
गोपी किशन और सुनील शेट्टी.
हाँ वही था, वो मेरे दो दो बाप ऐसे कुछ तो बोला था क्योंकि वो दूसरा आ जाता है. But point is, हमारे को ऑलरेडी घर पे माँ बाप हैं. हमारी फैमिली है, हमारा सिस्टम है. सरकार को इतना पावर मत दो. But I'm glad you have raised these points. But I have to say that then what's the point of being in the Congress? The only hope of getting any of this done, bro, is in the BJP. ये कांग्रेस से तो ना हो पाएगा.
Or maybe I lead the opposition, considering how you're seeing a lack of talent in the opposition.
There is a lack of talent, but bhai, मैं honestly
never know never. I don't want to. I'm just saying never know never. But
yeah, no. See, what I have experienced is whenever there is genuine feedback given, it also depends on from where it's coming from. What I have realized is when people inside the machinery realize कि इसका कोई angle नहीं है.
Yeah.
And that person says that, and then that person goes after them और says कि आप ये क्यों कर रहे हो. I'll give you an example. When that, you remember that credit card का वो घटिया टैक्स वो लोग जो मारने की कोशिश कर रहे थे अब्रॉड वाला, और जो पेला था उनको किसी ने, ऑपोजिशन ने नहीं पेला था, उनको बीजेपी के सपोर्टर्स ने पेला था.
But the tax still exists. They will increase the limit.
Yeah, but see, the moment that happened, right?
Yeah.
Some of us did get calls कि मतलब ये इतना बुरा है क्या. मैंने बोला आप लोग सोचते नहीं हो क्या कि कुछ भी बना देते हो आप लोग. बोलते अच्छा. And then they had to change. So the point is that they still respond. My fear with the Congress is I don't know who responds.
So there I give it to the BJP. I do believe that the Prime Minister has a mechanism to get feedback from the ground.
Yeah.
I do believe this very firmly, because I have never seen the Prime Minister being only sticking to something. He's been okay to take back steps.
Yeah.
Which I think is a good sign in politics, because it's not about I will bulldoze my, I mean, he is dominating, but he does take steps back on issues that he thinks are that could affect him or politically affect him, like you said, the tax issue. And there he does take. Now, how much of it happens, that 12 lakh rupee thing is now seems to be such a bureaucratic exercise, but there's a response, which I think I appreciate of the Prime Minister. I do appreciate this part about him, that he does have this ear to the ground, or people who have ears to the ground giving him feedback. I think that's a good thing to be. And I think that's important. And I think that's the defining factor for the BJP. If you remove the prime minister out of the BJP is exactly like the rest of the political parties.
Yeah, but see, the prime
They have some
minister.
good people. They have Amit Shah ji in certain
See,
areas.
I'll tell
They
you.
have Nitin Gadkari. But beyond that, it's
See, for me, the idea is that it's not the BJP. People don't understand this. This is a culture of the RSS. It's the feedback mechanism loop, which is inbuilt in the social fabric of this party. See, people should never forget the BJP is a creation
of the RSS.
of the RSS. Now they have giant differences, both of them.
Correct.
On many issues,
including the new BJP president.
Yeah. They have giant differences and they have their way. But the biggest feedback loop, even today, for the BJP, now they have their own ways also of doing it. They have agencies that work for them full time, and they. But what I like about the BJP is, and this is real, I get calls too. They're like, okay, tell us where the party is going wrong. They actually ask these questions, and if you are nasty to them, na, they actually, it's not like तूने ऐसे बोल दिया, नहीं वो लिख रहे हैं बैठ के मस्त में, book लेके बैठ के लिखेंगे कि अच्छा ये है. Because I have experienced it. What I have realized is, if you come from a place of good faith, where they, or it could be pure, they don't feel threatened by you. It is either or. Either they feel you're not threatening their kursi, or you come from a place of good faith, or a combination of these two. They listen to you. But what has happened is a lot of criticism at times. Again, it all goes down to the scarcity mindset of an average Indian. Is because the pie is so small. Is everybody in India that I meet, the default reaction when you meet an Indian is, iska angle kya hai?
Correct. That is the problem.
And yahan pe, then they meet some people jinka actually mein angle kuch hota nahi hai. They just care. And they're talking. Those people will be heard. But the point is, unko wo kaise find out karna is a very tricky issue. But the biggest problem with the Congress, and I could be wrong, is that Congress has lost that mechanism completely.
So I think with the Congress, what's happened is, I don't think it has those people who have the ears on the ground. I think the people surrounding the leadership are, like I told you, the left loonies. Imagine one of them was saying there's a tsunami in Haryana. I mean, that's how terrible out of touch they are. And I also think they are out of touch with what young aspirational India wants, which is sad, because per se, the Congress, in my opinion, has some very good leaders and can actually deliver a lot of good for the country. They do have some good ideas. I do believe this very firmly. That's why I support the party. But then I do see some of these people who give feedback. It's terrible. The kind of, even I've been telling them that let's have a Congress economic policy. Let's go to the people. You could agree, disagree with the policy, but give people a policy. Once you have a policy to compare versus what the BJP is, and BJP economically is their weak point, you can start a conversation and playing on your field rather than playing on the BJP's field. But I think that's what but that requires a lot of gravitas, hard work. It's just easier to criticize an individual, make personal comments, than do the actual gravitas and hard work. Like when I was telling you what I would do, I thought hard about this. If I have to get people out of the agricultural sector who are landless laborers, how do I get them out? Then obviously they come to cities. What will they do here? What is the skill requirement? How do you give it? You have to have a complete plan. Now, I'm not saying I'm the repository of all wisdom. I would require experts who tell me. So I'd come to you and say, bro, if a lot of villagers come to India, or a lot of people from villages come and they all want to podcast, what is required? I would have to get that from you. I don't know it. So obviously you have then the experts who help you and set that up. But at least have a generic idea of how you want to get people out and you can get the economy rolling. Then there will obviously be the mistakes. There will obviously be the errors. But then what you said is right. The intention. If your intention is just koi angle nahi, I want India to grow at 9 to 10% so that I can be a high income country and I can eliminate poverty and state dependence.
Yeah,
which is the goal.
I hope what you say eventually comes true one day, Tehseen, because as someone who truly cares, I mean, I'm a classic case of dual loyalties. I care for India and Canada both, because I live half and half. And obviously I'm born and raised here. I still consider myself to be an Indian and a Mumbaiker. At that, I feel very strongly about some of these issues, but I believe the time has come for India to move to the next step. Otherwise, we are going to be left behind in this research race, and that worries me every day. On national security, also, I believe the government is not spending enough on defense.
No.
I think we need to increase our defense spending, and
with the hostile neighborhood.
Yeah, I mean,
with China now wanting to challenge the unipolar world of America.
Yeah.
And with Russia, China axis wanting it to make a multipolar world, with that Pakistan.
Yeah, and unfortunately, again, even on the whole Pakistan issue, you seem to be the only guy who's affiliated with the Congress who makes the right noises all the time now.
I'm very clear. We have to, and this is my criticism of the BJP. Pakistan is irrelevant now.
Yeah, China is the main threat.
China is the main threat. Let's think of beating China. Pakistan can. We don't have to talk to Pakistan. We don't have to deal with Pakistan. Pakistan can go fish themselves. We don't give a damn. They are in a neighborhood. We can't change them. They are a nuclear power, a good nuclear power. You have to accept that they have a good nuclear arsenal. To that extent, we have to have a communication at a military level with them, so that if there's ever an accidental firing of missile which went off from India, there is immediate hotline, so you can speak to each other and both countries don't nuke each other. To that extent, you must have that much communication. Maybe a second level diplomacy abroad you can do with them, with water, shorter, whatever small issues are there. Beyond that, you don't need to talk to Pakistan. It is irrelevant for us. Let Afghanistan deal with Pakistan.
Yeah,
it's not our problem. It's not our circus. It's not my monkey. It's not my circus. It's not my monkey. They can go do what they want to themselves, and they can go deal with Afghanistan. I will help Afghanistan. I will deal with Afghanistan. Afghanistan is my friend. I will help them. I will help their people. I'm not interested in Pakistan. I don't want to fight a proxy war also with Pakistan. I don't care about Pakistan. I only want to talk to it so that our missiles don't hit each other, because I'm only interested in my people.
Yeah.
That's it. To that extent, I have to have a hotline with them. Rest all issues can be discussed in UAE, Turkey, Paris, over champagne. My second level diplomats can discuss it with the second level. I don't care a damn about them. I don't want to deal with Pakistan. Is non-existent for me. It's just that irritant who has a nuclear missile. I have to just.
So Sushant Sareen can deal with Pakistan.
Yeah, I mean, if I'm in government, at least. But the problem is Sushant is the missiles will go off. But the other side to Sushant is all the Punjabi generals in Pakistan will love him.
Yeah.
They will in private agree with what he says.
Sushant को कैसा होगा ना बटन दबाने को ओ एक बार और दबाओ बटन कहीं गलती से नहीं
send more. But yeah, I mean, beyond that, I mean we have to deal with China, and India's regional rise and India's rise in the Indo-Pacific will be challenged by China. China will not want India's rise.
Yeah, and that's where we need to play this game with America very deftly and very smartly, because
without upsetting Iran. We have to be at the west coast of Africa, and again, I keep telling all my friends who are from the opposition, from the BJP side, everyone gets very charged up about BRICS or whatever. The Western world, India is the only ally in BRICS.
Yeah.
You have to have India. You understand?
And India has categorically said that we don't believe in the BRICS
currency, which is obviously it's against India's national interest.
Yeah.
Why would you want a BRICS currency dominated by China?
Yeah.
Like, why would you want it?
Yeah, India is not for the BRICS.
It's not for the BRICS currency. So India's the only ally for the Western BRICS. Yet India is the only person in Quad. So I do think today India is in a position where India can sort of little bit punch more above her weight. Be it Israel, Gaza, Palestine, be it Russia, Ukraine. You can do a bit there. You can help, slightly punch. Talk to everyone. I don't like personally, I don't like the word superpower. I want my country to be a super partner. A superpower for ourselves. Our people should live the lives of a superpower.
Yeah, but Indian foreign policy has always been non-interventionist.
Correct. So superpower for our people. My people should have the best of lives, but a super partner for everyone. I'll partner with everyone in the sphere that's in my national interest.
Yeah.
That's
so,
it.
Like, my only criticism of both the Congress and BJP as far as foreign policy is concerned is, I think we made a big mistake, the entire establishment, including, because the BJP continued the Congress policy, was letting Bangladesh get away with what it did.
I'm so upset about it.
And see, I come from a textile background.
Correct.
I know what we did for Bangladeshi textiles.
True.
A lot of our knitting business was sent strategically to Bangladesh.
Correct.
So that they could survive.
Correct.
And today that has bit us in the ass. And now let them be crushed. I don't care. The job of the Indian government has to be to create more jobs for Indians in India.
Exactly.
हम इतने दयालु हैं जी, नहीं बांग्लादेश में हम जॉब्स क्रिएट करेंगे, नहीं हमारा काम नहीं. अगर वो करना है तो वो देश को अपने अंदर लो, फिर वो बांग्लादेश ही नहीं रहे.
The 51st state has Canada, Trump says.
यहाँ तो वो हमारा काम नहीं है. And this has been a Congress policy, a BJP policy, and this has been my biggest problem in this country. See, on Pakistan, our policy, Congress might want to do a few more talks. I like the BJP stand there. Baati mat karo, maro tum.
There I agree with BJP. I still say you don't need to.
But with Bangladesh, both are wrong. Both were wrong. And if you talk about this in the foreign policy establishment circles in India, अरे नहीं ऐसा नहीं होता कुशल, you're too hawkish on Bangladesh. It's like Sushant Sareen is too hawkish on Pakistan. I'm too hawkish on Bangladesh. I'm like, I'm not against the people of Bangladesh, but I'm sorry, मेरे jobs उधर क्यों जा रहे हैं भाई? Textile इंडिया में semi skilled and low skilled लोगों की भरमार पड़ी है. The one industry that can absorb all these people is textiles. और तुमने वही एक चीज भेज दी बांग्लादेश. तुम पागल हो क्या तुम लोग? तुम्हारा दिमाग खराब है. और स्ट्रेटेजिकली भेजी गधे के जैसे. तिरुपुर में जॉब्स क्रिएट करो एंड यू हैव अ जायंट इकोनॉमिक प्रॉब्लम इन पंजाब.
Correct.
Okay, again, all parties have destroyed Punjab.
Correct.
All parties. You had a industry in Ludhiana. अरे बांग्लादेश की इंडस्ट्री वहां लाओ ना लुधियाना में. तुम्हारा क्या है? तुम पंजाब को एग्रीकल्चर से निकालना है. Like you said, there are so many states in India where too many people are reliant on agriculture. But khair, it is what it is. Before we wrap up, anything else you think?
I think it's good.
Okay.
If we've offended anybody, we don't care.
Yeah, and honestly,
so,
I mean, I've had enough of people being offended.
Yeah.
Like, I'm used to this mob. It came after me since a long time. I'm not going to stop. Like, ज़्यादा होगा क्या होगा? तुम लोग बोलोगे देश छोड़ दे. एक तो मैं जाऊंगा नहीं. अगर गया भी तो थोड़े दिनों के लिए जाऊंगा, वापस आ जाऊंगा. तो क्या है मतलब, get used to it. And I'm glad there are people like you. And see, I'm saying this on the camera. I've said this off the camera also. I'm glad there are people like you. We need more people like you in every party. And I wish you nothing but happiness and
success.
Thank you,
bro. Thank you.
Thanks a lot.
Thank you.
Chalo, guys. Take care.
See you.
And
I hope that went well.
Keep watching the Cārvāka podcast. Bye-bye. All the best.
Thank you.